You're listening to Punisher Waterfowls, the Union 0430 podcast. Brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoy on the market. First Light, the best hunting gear on the planet. Go farther, stay longer. And Ducklander Calls, tradition, education, and quality. Built to hunt.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Union 0430, episode 170. And he's back, ladies and gentlemen. The voice, the one and only Mr. Oh, actually not Mr. It's Captain Jeff Coates. Coming to
there
us
you go.
all the way from I can't say Pintail Lane anymore.
No, we are not in Pintail anymore. So it was cool to say, hey, I lived on Pintail Drive, but this is to me, this is a little bit cooler here. So
yeah, buddy.
We got this going on plus right up there. Can you see it? I don't know.
Yeah, yep. Now we can. There it is. Australia, USA, and Canada flags showing. Yes, sir.
So, yeah, this Peerless Road has a little more, at the very least, has a little bit more usefulness for us and what our, not that our lifestyles changed, but what our lifestyle is 100%. This has got it beat. This has Pintail beat. Salute. Good evening.
Salute.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, buddy. Thanks for coming on. And I gotta say, because I talked about it, so today is Thursday, the 14th of December. So this episode's gonna drop in about a week or so. But the next episode that drops is actually Corey Foskett from Tango Free, but Phil and Mark had to back out very last minute, and I needed someone to come on and help me host. So Brian Ellithorpe jumped on with me Tuesday night, and I'm like, hey, listen, there is a serious competition between you and Jeff Coates right now on who's got more appearances. And he said, well, I think I'm pulling ahead of him today. I said, well, it's going to be a short-lived victory for you, buddy, because Thursday he's coming on again. He was like, oh, jumping. So anyways, you'll hear it on the next episode. Jeff, buddy, thanks for coming on, because I know you're super busy, and this is a little bit weird. So because we're doing it early this evening, we're doing the recording early this evening because you got to get up. You're starting the third split tomorrow morning, correct?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Thank you. 7 o'clock. Not that I couldn't have did 7 o'clock tonight, but 7 turns into 8, turns into 9, and I can operate the best on 6 hours of sleep. Yeah. And do I need to get up at 2:30 in the morning? No. But do I like to get up at 2:30 in the morning? No. But it makes me feel good to get up at 2:30 just because, but not physically, but more the mental aspect. I've always not wanted you to wait on me, which, I think I have a pretty good record about that, but I want to be early. I like to take my time. Yeah. I think the world is just a nicer place when there's nobody on the roads in the morning. And that's, when I pull out of here at 3:45, 4 o'clock, I go to Royal Farms, I go to Wawa, these different places and stop. And it's like, there's very few people out. And that's what I enjoy the best. It's probably my, not to be too weird about it, but like maybe my most enjoyable part of my day, as far as just nobody's around, nobody's doing anything. And I'm in control.
Well, and the fact that, I've done a lot of stressful things in my life. And one of the most stressful things I ever had to do is be in a rush. And that is the fear that someone is waiting on you, that you're late. It just puts me in a different level of the red, and I don't like it. So I'm like you. Now, I don't think I would go to the extremes that you do with getting up at 2:30, but I do understand and appreciate, because now where you are on Peerless, when you were on Pintail, like you had a bit of a drive, because the duck boat didn't stay on Pintail, correct? That was in another location.
No, it was in the driveway. So okay. It did. But the problem was, like, the development, short line from 45 pintail drive to where generally and typically where I hunt is literally 3.5 miles away. Like we could see Ocean City. It was a dead end. Well, not a dead end. It was a cul-de-sac court. You looked across, you could see Ocean City. So we were very close, but you had to drive. It took you 15 minutes to get out of the neighborhood kind of thing, right? Just because that's supposed to do, 35 and driving, just out trying to get out there. So really for me to from both driveways to Wawa, there's 2 minutes difference in time if you went on Google Maps.
Oh,
so
really?
If that's halfway accurate, it's really, I really haven't gained anything or lost anything.
Okay. Well, that's good because it doesn't change like it for you. You didn't have to change anything with your routine, really, right?
Yeah. And to get back about getting there early and I just want to be on my game, not to be too dramatic, but we are going out in the ocean and I am in charge of someone's safety, right? So I just like to be clear-headed and awake and they show up groggy-eyed and tired and I've had people fall asleep as we're going out. They're like falling asleep, and I need to be on my game, and that's I like to get up early and make sure that everything's good to go. Duck boat's sitting behind me right now, but it's once a week I'll top her off with gas. Got a 70-gallon tank, but fill her to the top. So just get there and want to make it happen. The other thing too is currently the bluefin tuna bite is very, very close to Ocean City right now, which is kind of rare, but like literally in eyesight of Ocean City. So within 6 miles of the beach, they are catching big bluefin tuna. So I don't think that there'll be any pressure on the ramp, busyness at the ramp for other duck hunters tomorrow, but there's going to be people wanting to go catch they'll be in small boats trying to get out there to catch a blue tuna. So I just want to, I hate being rushed. And I just, I'm a creature of habit, and I like to be. I operate best because of that, I think. Or when I'm in that little zone, I operate the best.
I get you. Yeah. It's funny that you brought up that bluefin tuna because Trish and I went out and had dinner at a friend's of our place about a week ago. And anyways, we're eating lamb, and of course we're at the point now where. I guess this happens to adults as you get older, where food and eating good food or do for me because I was never that type of person before. But we were talking about food that we typically had never ever tried, but now absolutely love. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you that a couple years ago I was in PEI and my buddy's wife caught a tuna. And we grilled it on the grill. And I am telling you, it is the best thing I've ever eaten in my life. And he was like, really? And when I told him that PEI is like I think it was you that told me it was like the bluefin capital of
down east is North Lake, and North Lake is like Ocean City would be the self-proclaimed capital, the white marlin capital of the world. North Lake and PEI is the self-proclaimed bluefin capital of the world.
Yeah. So, and I was telling him about it and he was like, oh, there's no way. And I was like, no, man, I'm telling you. I was like, and so we were talking about it and I said, I don't know what they done. I said, it was like some blackened Saskatchewan spice that they put on it. And I said, all I can remember is that I was skeptical in tasting it because the only thing I've ever tasted tuna was what was in a can. And that doesn't even remotely, like not even a fraction come close to what it's like to eat the fresh stuff. It was friggin' amazing.
Yeah, and truthfully, not that there's anything wrong with eating it, but we were like eating the junk meat, right? There's a reason why they cut the tails off. There's, that's not.
Oh, really?
That's the undesirable meat as far as how about at market. Yeah, but obviously it tastes good, and we know it tastes good. Oh. And there's it's not that the tail is definitely not the sushi grade bluefin tuna meat that you're going to get. But again, for eating it like we ate it, it's good to go.
Oh, buddy, it was so good.
100% it was.
Okay, so we're going to jump all over the place here tonight because it's been a while since
I just noticed your hoodie there.
Yeah,
very nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
That's my
rain defender.
What's that? That's the rain. Yeah, that's the Carhartt one. This is like high end. Yeah. This is high end. There's nothing small about this. Like this is I remember when you give this to me, you were like, "Hey, here, you want this?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I want it." I'm like, this is a $150 hoodie, buddy." Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, no, we're gonna jump all over.
I interrupted you. Go.
Yeah, no, sorry. No, it's all good, buddy. We're gonna jump all over the place because it's been a while since we've been talking on the show, and you had done your trip up to PEI. You and Karen had went up, hung out with Woody and Paulie and all the boys, Junior and all the boys up there. Um, and you've also had your two splits of your season already down in Maryland. And then you've had a ton of stuff going on at the Easton Waterfowl Festival. Plus, as always, you're busy with Molly's. So we've got a ton of stuff to catch up on, buddy. So I want to talk first, just because it's Canada. I want to talk about PEI first and talk about your trip. And I know Karen always has a wonderful time, which makes it even more special to you. But how was the trip this year? How's Woody and how's Paulie?
Jeff and Paulie are very, very good. Okay. They've aged a year since I've seen them, but so have I. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we keep up to date. It, not to go off on a tangent, but technology, man. Like we text more than anything. We talk
right.
Maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, but definitely like we're texting daily. So we do keep up with at arm's length. There's a couple different chats. There's one with Jeff, Judy, Karen, and myself. And right. Then there's one with Jeff and Paulie. And then just me and Paulie and me and Jeff. So kind of you have to watch who you're texting, what you're texting. Make sure you're doing it to the right audience, I should say.
Yeah.
It was good. I think we went where we thought the leaves were going to be right on time and right spot on, but I think because of the hurricane the year before, the trees maybe were a little bit stressed. They were saying that it took till like maybe some of the trees didn't leaf out till June, and they dropped the leaves quick. So we were kind of behind. We were behind it just a little bit as far as the leaves go.
Right.
But man, PEI is a beautiful place. It's great. And we had an awesome time. We got a little bit of snow one day, twice maybe. We missed snow by like a degree or two quite a few times where it rained instead of we could have had a lot of snow.
Wow.
I guess the mood amongst everyone was a little different there this year. Jeff is a licensed guide on PEI. Yeah. And we decided to try to do a guided hunt, and evidently there's some factions there that people that you had met that were not on board with what we were doing. So we were definitely, it was the politics of politics. Although we were doing nothing wrong. Right. I don't know, jealousy, envy, whatever it is. Yep. There were some people that we did not see and we did not talk to. Matter of fact, that we were at By the Bay, the restaurant one time. There's quite a few people kind of, as we walked in, kind of went like this and made an exit that we didn't talk to. Now, some of the group stopped and shook our hands and talked, and we got to catch up. But there was a few of them that, like they couldn't get out there fast enough. So it was a little, with a smile on my face, I'll say it was a little bit awkward. But
well, yeah, and it's such a small area geographically too, right? Like we always talk about how small the waterfowling world is, but if you have to compare it then to, the island of PEI that you could, drive across in an hour and a bit, it's a very small community. So I get it, I can see it, but at the same time, knowing Geoff the way that I do, he's a very ethical hunter and not someone that I would not somebody that I would have a big concern with on operating in my backyard. I'll leave it at that.
And it turned out that we didn't infringe upon anybody's goose hunting.
Right.
We did nothing with geese. Fellows wanted to come up and trophy hunt. They were the 6 black duck limit. One of the fellows had a fire, sadly, and lost some of his black. Western Pennsylvania, lost some of his black duck mounts, so he wanted to get black ducks mounted. Okay. They both were all about trying to get a Barrow's goldeneye. That was a bird they wanted to check off their list. And one of the fellows he just got back. We were texting the other yesterday, actually. He just got back from Alaska and he got his Harlequin. So they were more of, but not like quantity. It was just the quality of the hunt, and we did not interfere with anybody's Canada goose hunting. So
okay, good.
Yeah,
that's really cool. And like I said, we're going to jump all over the place. But you've been posting a bunch of pictures lately of Harlequins. Is that something new for you on your coast?
No. There's not a, I guess depends on who you ask or who you talk to.
Right.
There's probably not the population to hunt on the East Coast, but there's definitely Harlequins on the East Coast.
Okay.
So, mid-state New Jersey is one of the best places, and I have not been there in a few seasons. But really, if you're into photography, man, there's some great spots that you can walk literally within 10 feet of Harlequin. A lot of times they hop up on a rock for you and almost kind of pose for you to take pictures.
Wow.
But the pictures that you were seeing, Karen and I have never driven all the way up west. So one of the days, that was on our list to go do. And we get up there. There's some windmill farms. It was a day that it snowed pretty good. We're getting up there, and Jeff jumped out, and I thought he was running back to tell me that he was coming back to say there's a king eider, but he said, Jeff, he's like, there's 30 Harlequin that are like right here, and I'm trying to get back into using. Well, I'll sidestep for a second. We've definitely tried to downsize and clean up clutter of what we have. I have had a Canon L series fixed 600 lens f4. That's, I don't know, it's worth US. It's probably worth at least $10,000, if not 12. Wow. I've had it forever, and I told Karen, I was like, hey, let's turn this into dollar bills, and she's like, no, like keep that. You're going to use that someday. I was like, all right. And so the more kind of as we went through trying to move from Pintail to here, I was like, you know what? You're right. I need to start taking pictures. And I actually started with, we did not have hummingbirds. You can reel me back in because I'm going to go off on a tangent.
No,
we did not have hummingbirds at Pintail. At one time here in the evenings, we would have 18 to 24 hummingbirds a night here. So I'd set the big ones up on the feeder, and I took all kinds of video. Didn't take many still pictures, but I was taking a lot of video of these hummingbirds through the 600 and the Canon 600. And so I was like, hey man, like we're going to PEI this year. I'm gonna take this lens. I don't know that I'll use it, but it did come in handy for the Harlequin as well as there was quite a few. I don't know if you saw the yellow collars, the Greenland.
Yeah,
there was probably, I think, as many as nine birds at one time that were still together of the collar. So anyway, taking the camera along with me, I got to use the lens, and like I said, Jeff jumped out quickly and ran back and said, man, he's like, there's 30 Harlequin that are like right down here. And so that was pretty much the Harlequin pictures that you saw, whether we're from up west on PEI.
Okay. No, awesome. I just noticed, and I was just, it struck me, and I was like, I can't remember ever seeing Jeff posting pictures of Harlequins, and I'm just like, is that something that's just starting to show up over down in Maryland? And but it's all good. It's all good. I tell you. That picture you've got going on social media, well, it's not a picture, it's a video of that goose with its beak, with the ice on its beak and stuff. Like that's impressive just on how I don't know why I use the word, it's not tough, but how, I guess tough for lack of a better term, how tough these birds are to be out in these elements. Like, and it's a chunk of ice that's frozen on this beak, and it doesn't seem like it's affecting that bird whatsoever.
Yeah, man, he was just chilling. I've got quite a few minutes of video of him, and yeah, like he even goes and goes at his breast, and like he acted like a normal bird, but he did have quite the ice hang comb over, say the ice comb over on his bill.
Well, go for it. No, go for it.
I was going to say, I've come across, I was going through a bunch of old hard drives, and that would have been probably in 2017, 2018, in January here. That was back over at Ocean Pines there. We had like 2 to 3 days, like it was like a high of 4 degrees Fahrenheit, right? So it's a big lake. All of a sudden that lake got very small. It started snowing, and it was, to my definition, it was very cold. And there was canvasbacks that they were sitting there sleeping. They'd kind of have some ice built, like just snow that was on them. They'd have a little bit of ice built up on them. And but yeah, that goose was he was out of everything that I was looking at. I was like, bam, that's the bird. That was the bird. My eyes gravitated.
No, absolutely. Okay. Did you? I think I was texting you actually the day that you made it. I think you went over to Maggie's pub. I think I was texting you that day, and I was asking you what was on the go, and you were like, "Yeah, we're heading over to Maggie's pub." And I got to give a shout out to Paulie, and I got to do it here now, just so that he hears it. And I admit to it that I'm totally going to copy him. So, and I'm totally copying Paulie on this because I want to make a like a little bar area right here in my garage. It won't be to the level that Paulie went. I can promise you that. But I thought about it and naming a little, just a little bar, call it Landers Pub or whatever like that. But I got to give, and this, God knows how long it's going to take me to get this done. But I got to give a shout out to Paulie for it because Maggie's Pub is the inspiration behind it. And the last thing I want is Paulie walking around PEI telling everybody that I stole his idea. I want to get ahead of it right now and say, Paulie, I'm stealing your idea, so you can't go around the island telling everybody I stole your idea.
It's a Paulie original.
It is a Paulie original, 100%, 100%. So, okay, so PEI is done. You done some great hunts, hung out with your people. Karen had a great time. And it's good to see that she stays true to form where on what it is that she loves about being on the island, and that is just walking on the beach with the dogs and the whole bit, right? And I seen those posts on it every day. So it was great to see, because I know you enjoy it. You enjoy it to go up and you get to hang out with the boys and the whole bit. But I think Karen, I don't want this to sound very cliche, but I think on a spiritual level, Karen enjoys PEI as just a hard reset. Like that's her reset button. She just relaxes, eats some good food, hang out with some good people before getting back down to Maryland and getting into the rat race, which is life, right? So and it's evident to see in her post.
100%. It is, and I actually get enjoyment or satisfaction out of that she enjoys, right? So it's not always about me. Quite often it is, but the PEI is not about me. It's about her. It's about us. And again, it's good friends that we have there on the island. So I mean, it is a 17+ hour drive to get up there, and we did it one drive. Yeah, we did it in the truck. I'm looking at the truck right there, but right there is there's the F350 and there is the T350. We did not get the van in time, to travel a little bit more in comfort, to get on the island. But we did get there in the truck, no issues. But yeah, it is, it's about her as well as about me, and it's about us. And I know that she really does enjoy it. I can tell you with all that we've got going on here in the past year, the summer was very, very busy for us, trying to get Pintail empty, trying to get our CO here, debt in debt. I don't want to whine and complain. I'm not complaining. I'm explaining. It was very stressful. And I told Jeff and I told Karen, I said, man, when we get to PEI, like if I just sit and do nothing for a day, sit it in a cockpit shawls, I was like, I'll be happy. Like I just want to like do nothing.
Yeah.
And Karen was very much on board with that too. Actually, we did it for 2 days. And the one day I started feeling guilty. I was like, is there something wrong? Like we just like basically sat here. We got up, we started a fire, we ate, walked to the beach, enjoyed, and now we're drinking. Like we're just like freaking hanging out here. Like, is there anything wrong with that? And she's like, nope, there's nothing wrong with this at all. So.
Not at all. Well, not at all. And especially, like you said, just 17.5 hours. And I believe you told me this time you had drove through New York, right? Like city?
Yeah, we always do. We always do. Coming home, coming home, we got a little bit more on 95 than what we normally do.
Okay.
But going up was the same route that we do.
Okay.
Traffic wasn't bad. We did.
There was a bridge or something. Was there not?
The George Washington Bridge is always that's what we kind of. So if you're not familiar, Route 95 that travels north and south on the eastern seaboard here.
Yep.
It does go through 95 and it crosses the Hudson River, and it's the George Washington Bridge, which is a double-decker bridge. It's ancient, like built in the late 30s. Excuse me, it's late in the 1930s. And it's just the roads are horrible, and it's traffic, and we always kind of navigate. We try to navigate ourselves around the GW Bridge, and we leave. And when we came home, we even left late in the morning so that we could hit the bridge basically at 11 p.m. at night. So
wow.
We struggled coming home. We did not do well getting home. So it took us a little over 20 some hours to get home. So
oh boy. But back to the point where you took 2 days to relax and stuff, a 17 and a half hour drive. And let's face it, like none of us are getting any younger. So those drives are a little harder on the body. And
harder on the eyes.
Yeah. But you made it there. It's supposed to be a vacation and a relaxing trip. So there's no need to hit the ground running. You know what I mean? So I think it's brilliant to sit back and smell the roses for a couple days and get your bearings and then start chasing birds, and you guys are busy when you hit there too, right? You've got so many people that you try to visit and so many things you try to do. So, take a couple days for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
That's our wedding anniversary is in the mix there. Before we went to PEI. Yeah. So we got married in October, so that falls in there. It's just I tell everybody, and you've experienced it yourself. I mean, the island is just a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I don't know, well, except for maybe this year with some people that had attitudes. I don't run into anybody that's negative. Had some people reach out. People that I don't know stopped and brought us scallops and reached out to us that people that know who we are, but I don't know who they are. We're very, very friendly. Went out of their way to bring something to say, wanted to say hello to us, and it just makes you feel really good. I would put this on anybody's list. If you're a waterfowler, you got to get to Prince Edward Island, Canada, one time in your life. You really do, because you just need to experience it. The reddest. How would you describe the dirt there?
It's just red dirt, and it's everywhere. It's not it. We were talking about it the other day, and a lady that I know, her daughter lives in PEI now, right? And we were just talking about PEI and stuff, and someone had overheard us, and they had said, like PEI, like I wonder what it's like. And I said, well, you got to remember, you can't even get gravel in PEI. And they were like, what are you talking about? I was like, it's got to get trucked over. I said, it is like when they say it's red dirt, it's red dirt, and it is as red. It's just like it's a very rich red, if that makes sense to the people that are listening. It's just a very vibrant red. I'm
looking at Pitboss F350, and sadly, I'm embarrassed to say that I can still see some PEI dirt because I have to work the truck since we got back. But I can see it. Definitely, it's in my boots. It's in the gun stock, and Pete. What is the number one? Well, I think it's the number one agricultural product that they produce on PEI.
Oh, it'd be potatoes.
There you go, man. And those potatoes thrive in that brick red dirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%, 100%. But I remember when we were down there with you a couple years ago, and this was something that was mind blowing to me, really. But there was starting to become a very good crop of corn down there, and I just thought the only thing that they grew in PEI was potatoes. But then you were starting to see a fair amount of corn starting to be grown too.
100% corn, soybean, and corn, and I'm sorry, potatoes. I'm sure there's something else there that's grown too. But Fred West Farms. Last year like I even talked to him about the difference of the corns, because the corn that they have, it almost looks like more like our sweet corn. The tassels, it's just a different. I don't want to say it's I don't want to say it's a weaker looking corn, but it looks more like our sweet corn here. Their field corn looks more like our sweet corn. Fred was explaining, yeah, like there's like 60-day corn, 90-day corn.
Yeah.
But they were in late October, early November, they were still cutting corn when we left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So, yep.
That's awesome. Okay. So PEI, and I remember talking to you. We were chatting on the phone, and you were telling me, yeah, okay, yeah, we're in PEI, but it's busy, running around and the whole bit, and the fall is just such a busy time for you. You left PEI, you got home, you were only home for what, a day, and then you were up to Easton for the Waterfowl Festival. Now I got to admit, that I did not see a ton of your stuff from Easton. I was probably away hunting that weekend and not on social media that much. But how was Easton this year? Because I know traditionally it is a banger of an event. How was it this year?
It was right up there. I got to say, Saturday was probably the busiest Saturday that since I've been going, especially post COVID. It seems like each year just gets better and better. They tweaked a few things there to show, but like it's tweaked it to the better, to the good. And there was just especially on Saturday, man, there were a lot of people. When I say it's easy to say, there's a lot.
Right.
You had trouble in the midway of Sportsman's Pavilion. You had some issues of like kind of navigating. There was that many people there. Now they have a stage now. They have bands playing. The Brio, the smokeless fire pits. They've got Brios there, so they've got those things set up everywhere with chairs around them. So that are, the weather was right. It was a very good weekend.
No, absolutely, and so I know Molly's, who's a big part of the Easton Waterfowl Festival, and they do a big thing there. But Molly's was there, and a huge setup, because I did see the setup that Molly's had. I didn't, like I said, I didn't get to see a lot of your stuff walking around and talking to people and stuff like that. But the Molly's setup was huge. And yeah, it just looked like it was a good time. And the fact that you're saying probably the busiest Saturday that you've seen since you've been going, that's got to be a good thing for retailers to start seeing now, because I'm sure when COVID was on the go, there were some stressful times there. And then coming out of COVID, a lot of people didn't know how this was all going to play out, especially these outdoor shows, right? Because there was that attitude that the outdoor show was going to start slipping, right? But it seems now like we're seeing it with the Toronto Sportsman Show up here, and then you're talking about Easton's show, and then the Delta Expo that they had down in Little Rock this year. Like, fabulous turnout. Like, people are coming out and people are spending money, so it's got to be great news for retailers.
100%. And basically, just if you want to kind of blow it up even bigger or into the bigger circles there, the Eastern Shore of Maryland, the town of Easton, everybody benefits from it, because all people that travel, you can't get a hotel room.
I know.
Friday night or Saturday night, you can't get one in Easton. If you don't have it, if you don't have it, I bet you 2 to 3 months in advance, you're not going to get it, right?
Yep.
The vendors take them up, as well as people that are coming there to experience the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, it reaches out to a not just the show and the retailers and the vendors that are at the show, but just the Easton itself and the surrounding area, as well as Eastern Shore of Maryland and Maryland itself. There's a lot of people flew in, Baltimore, Washington International, right? So the airport itself, it reaches to bigger and bigger circles.
Yeah, the local economy must boom through this, between fuel, hotel rooms, restaurants, all of that, car rentals, all of that stuff, right? Because if people are flying in, well, then they need a car rental and all this stuff. So it's just a huge boost to the local economy, and which is a good thing, and it really is a good thing, and it's good to see that the event is is still growing, and one day the problem with it is that it falls around that, for me anyways, is that it falls around that November the 11th time frame. It's always in and around there, right? And that's a big day for me up here, and I like to be home for it. So, but
100%.
but
Well, and
nonetheless, yeah, go for it.
that Saturday for us is the second opening split of duck season. That next year in 24, I'm curious. I know how it's going to happen because we have leap year next year, right? So instead of our Thanksgiving being on the 23rd, it's going to be on the 28th. So on the calendar, kind of everything falls back a little bit. So basically, the Easton show is going to not fall on the opener for our ducks. It's going to be the weekend before. So I'm curious to see whether that helps it, or I don't know if it hurts it or not. But it is going to be it'll be a change next year.
I don't think it'll hurt it, because the people, I don't know, when it comes to stuff like that, I think the people that are going to go, they're going to go. That it doesn't matter, right? Like, unless it's Christmas Day,
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this, like Saturday morning, there are definitely vendors and people that travel to the area that are not from here. They went and duck hunted real quick in the morning, and then they show up to do the show. And or the Monday, we don't hunt Sundays. Yep. They hang out Monday to hunt on Monday because, again, they've traveled to the area. They haven't experienced sea ducks. They haven't experienced whatever the Chesapeake Bay has to offer that they have not from regionally from where they're from.
Yeah.
And they hang out and hunt. So I think, again, the vendors are still going to come because it's the show, but the hunting aspect is not going to be going to be in play next year because of leap year. Our duck season will not open till the following Saturday, not the Saturday of the show, but the week after.
Okay, cool. So let's get into now. You've done your 2 splits already. Tomorrow you're starting a 3rd split. So I love watching your videos. I love it when you're here. They come now. Here they come. Yeah, let's just let them work. Let them work.
Let them get here.
Let them get here. Yeah. How's the season been so far down there?
So the first 20 days has been good. The last week, which is our Thanksgiving week, on that Thursday, the first couple of days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it blew pretty hard. The ocean was out of bounds, so we did not do that. And really because, it was still a little bit on the early side, and we had not had much of a winter yet, which is still very mild here. Right. The places that I could take somebody out of the wind, there really weren't birds there. And so anyway, basically give everybody the option. I think pretty much people that come with me want to experience what they see on the videos, and they want to experience the ocean, and everything else would be, is option, is not the same. It's option 2, option B, whatever you want to call it, but it's not, we're not out in the ocean. So we did have I lost a couple days there, and tomorrow, Friday, Saturday looks good. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sadly, the winds kick in. And I did take a 30, 32, 33 mile boat ride today, looking for a couple birds. I did find some spots that, we can get out of the wind. Again, it's not the ocean. It's not out front. So it's not the same experience. Yeah. But again, if they're here, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're from Kentucky. So I'm sure they're going to want to do something. The one little bailout, or another not a bailout, but to bail me out and or have a second option. Our Canada goose season has gone to a 45-day 2-bird limit, and goose opens tomorrow also. So Fred West has been very kind to me, and actually this afternoon he told me, he's like, "Hey man, I got those 2 blinds. If you want to try to go shoot some geese, if that helps you out, if it is blowing 30 knots, 40 knots, if that helps you." If they would be into it, you're more than welcome to go use that. So he's very kind, and very kind on that. So we'll see how it works out. But yeah, the first 20 days, except for the wind, has been very good. I've seen more birds, I think, than I have in the last year, if not the last 2 years. And I took the big boat ride today. I'm looking forward to get out there tomorrow, and then day 21 of 60. So we got 40 more days to go. Wow.
Well, yeah, and you're just getting started here now, right? So, that's the, and I wanted to the millions of fans that are listening, I wanted to throw this out there too, and I know, for the most part, everybody knows who you are and follow you on social media, and I gotta throw this plug out to you, is that if you were leaning on the fence to come and do a hunt with Jeff, like when I spoke, you and I had talked about this at the beginning of the season, where you were already booking into 2024, like September, October of 2024. So listen, if you are on the fence of, maybe we should do a trip up to Maryland and go hunt with Jeff, you best get on it because those spots fill up fairly quick.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But Damon, you can never assume anything. So there are people out there. I have people on Instagram. They message me and say, "Do you guide?"
Right.
So when whether they're effing with me or they truly don't know, so you can't assume that. But back to your point, yes, it happens. It's going to happen quicker each year now because except for December 25th, I have open, but other than that, I'm full this year to January 31st. And when somebody, 2 to 3 email submissions a day, hey, I'm booked. Well, now for 24, 25, I'm 15 of the 60 days booked, and it just kind of keeps happening quicker.
Wow, that's amazing. And you know what? It is. You had said it right. When people come up, they want that experience, right? They want to be on the ocean. They want that saltwater spray blown in their face, and they want the swell of the ocean on and trying to hit those birds. And
some people don't. Some people don't want that, but go
ahead. Well, I tell you, as much as I want to come and hunt with you, the one thing that I know that's going to happen is I'm going to ensure that your phone isn't up and you're not recording when I do shoot, because the last thing I need, because I just know, not that I had a ton of experience when my dad and them used to do it back in Newfoundland in the North Atlantic when they were shooting turs and stuff like that. But I can remember like fellas that are really, really good shots and not their first time out hunting on the ocean and just putting a load of buckshot into a wave and not even touching a bird. And I'm just like, I laugh when I watch these videos because I know how hard it can be. But with that being said, I don't think I've ever seen anybody on your videos be upset. Like they're missing birds, but it's laughs, right? Like fellas are just laughing, poking fun at one another because they miss. It's awesome to watch. It really is.
So the videos, I never do the videos to embarrass anybody or make fun of anyone, right? But you just said that. Yeah, in the moment, everybody's having fun. 2 or 3 days later, I've had some people that are not happy. If you want to go back, probably the best video this year, I'm 100%. I'm telling you the truth. Day 5 of 60, there's a reel. I think it has 1.6 million views. And I know that the fellas, I tagged them. So they were like, when somebody replies, like they get to read it. And I know that they weren't necessarily in the moment. They thought it was funny. And 2 or 3 days later, 4 days later, a week later, like they want to get in there and like tell people it's not as easy as what you think, kind of thing. But the one video is literally like the guy in the bow shoots 3 times, and you can clearly see he's a foot behind it, he's 2 foot behind it, he's a foot behind it, and then there's a couple extra shots, and the bird flies off. And I mean, people are just like it's easy to tell somebody what they should do or what they shouldn't do or how they should be doing. And like, there's a lot of comments in there that, that are not, they're not, the funny thing is there's the hunters that are not being positive, but then you get the anti-hunters too.
Right.
So I don't think that everybody reacts to the anti-hunters, but it's the people that you can see that they hunt and basically just saying, man, you guys suck. And like, it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't go over well.
Yeah. And no, I can totally believe that it wouldn't go over well, especially if someone's throwing shade at you and stuff. It's different when you look at someone and you're joking and they can pick up the tone that you're saying and go, oh boys, you suck at that, right? You can hear it in the voice that it's just a joke, but on those messages, you have no idea. You can't tell the tone and you don't know, right? And then of course you always have the people that think that they're the best and and they know, yeah. So I totally get it. But like I said, I seen one video not very long ago, and there was a fella sat in a chair. He didn't shoot. I don't think he had anything in his lane. He didn't shoot, but somebody did, and he was having such a laugh just watching this guy miss, and he was just laughing. And but everybody that's listening, that once you get back to the hotel room, that's all you're talking about. And I've done it. Like I've done it where, the hunt is over and it's been 4 and 5 hours later and I'm like, man, I can't believe I missed that. I had that bird dead to rights and I still missed it. And it just carries on. So these fellas go back to the hotel room, have a couple of drinks, have something to eat, and the conversation just carries on from the boat.
The two things to the naysayers that everybody has commented on the videos. This is two things that I don't always say, but in my mind, this is what I see daily. So it is the norm. It's not the exception. People that miss bird. And again, with duck hunting, you can see, generally and typically, you can see your shot on the water. So after you shoot, how far behind you are. And secondly, even though when all these misses, they still shot their limit. So we still got their birds.
Right.
And, everybody had a good time doing it. And again, like this year, I have experienced a couple of times where, the people that were involved in the videos maybe, aren't so happy that the videos are up there. But I don't do it to embarrass anybody or make it anymore. But it's what I see daily.
No. And you know what, from an outsider watching, and for the people, even if you're listening to this show and your video is one that you're not entirely happy about, I'm going to tell you that as an outsider, it is nice to see videos from a guide, a professional, that shows misses, and it's not always everybody's dumping everything that comes in front of them. Because it's real life. It's actually how it plays out, because you're not hitting every bird all the time, right? So it's refreshing to see. I get it. You don't want to be up on social media and people making fun of you and stuff like that. But for me, I appreciate it, and I know how hard it must be. So you won't hear me throw any shade to anybody. That's for sure.
Well, the funny thing in this, and I won't mention any names or brands, but after day one, I was like, guys, this is going to be difficult for me. Like, what do I do with this? I want to post this up, but I don't want to show you guys in a bad light. They're like, oh man, just go ahead. It's okay. It's okay. It wasn't okay. They were. I got to. So again, I'm getting up at 2:30, right?
Yeah.
There was a comment that was like 3 hours. I'm look down to see when it got posted. So obviously they've been up, like you said, they've been up. They went back to the room. They've been drinking. Well, 3 hours prior is when this post, whose brand is this good for? And I replied, yours or mine? Who are we talking about? I did get a phone call after the fact of hey, I'd been drinking a little bit. I was reading these comments and, it didn't make me feel the best and, on and on and on. I was like, well, I told you, if you don't want me to put these up, I won't. And you're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. And, after a few drinks and I guess talking amongst themselves and then reading the comments, they were not happy. So.
Well, yeah. I'm laughing. And I don't mean that, and I don't mean any malice behind my laughing. It's just, it's just to me, it's cool when you're approached. Yeah, I don't care, throw it up. But then when people start picking on you and saying shit, yeah, I can see how it would piss people off, but I really can, especially when go.
As Paulie would say, chirping you.
Yeah, chirping you, exactly. But you know what? But that's, you live and die by that sword. And we talked about this the last episode I just recorded with Corey Foskett, right? With Tangle Free. And you live and die by this sort of social media and technology and the internet, and you use it, you try to manipulate it to grow your brand and to give your brand more exposure and all that stuff. But it's a double-edged sword because, and we've seen it like with this woke culture that we're in right now. We've seen brands that just get completely obliterated because of one thing that they've done and somebody didn't like it, and you just obliterate that brand. And but you live and die by that sword. And if what's the old saying, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So it's tough, man. Like it is a tough world, and I know I'm not in the same realm as you, but you're trying to put out content on your social media brands, which is showing an everyday hunt and what you see daily. And then on the other hand, there's people, well, I don't really like being shown in that light. Well, listen, it's take the good with the bad, I guess. And that's easy for me. I'm not the one that's video. I'm some dude in the back just commenting. So yeah.
No, well, I mean, I agree with you 100%. The other aspect is like I don't have to call out who anybody is, so they're anonymous, right? But in this case that I brought up a couple minutes ago, like I was trying to promote them, right? So they're with me, promoting who they are, and hey, comments of like, hey, I hope their product is better than how they shoot, kind of thing. People are being pretty hard on them, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's easy for somebody that's watching to say, "Oh, I could have did better." Well, yeah, all right, jump in the boat and show me, because this is what I'm showing is tomorrow's day 21 of the 60, and I bet you I'm gonna see quite a few people that are going to be missing birds because the boats rolling. They're not used to it. It's just something totally different. So you could be the best trap shooter, the best skeet shooter, the best whatever kind of shooter, the best duck shooter or goose shooter. You put it in a boat that the boat's rocking and rolling, and it's just a totally different experience.
Absolutely. No, absolutely it is, buddy. And to sit back and listen, this is the world we're in, right? Like somebody throws up a video or someone makes a post, well, then there's always somebody that'll jump on and critique it and do their thing, and that's just the way it is.
Human nature.
Yeah, just human nature, right? But until you've done it, think before you make that post, because until you've done, and listen, for people that don't know, like we're talking the North Atlantic Ocean. Like this isn't one of the Great Lakes, which don't get me wrong, the Great Lakes can get pretty rough, but it is
it's not a big pond.
No. It is the North Atlantic. Like this is a very unforgiving environment, right? So this was something I brought up the other day. Here's a total tangent for you, which keeps in tune with how you and I usually do this. You put up a video the other day of some old time hunting on the Chesapeake Bay. And actually we were talking about it with Corey Foskett, and we were talking about the evolution of decoys and stuff. And I said, you got to check out this video that Jeff Coates put up, because it's in the days of punt guns and the whole bit, but there's a point in that video where you see the decoys, the goose decoys that they're using. I'm like, it is like, if somebody was to give that to me today and say, go out and hunt your geese with this, I would have like, I'm not even going if this is what I got to use. And these gentlemen and fuck, probably ladies too, I don't know, but these people that hunted the Chesapeake back in the day, like they killed a lot of birds over these decoys, and it makes you wonder, like does the education of birds really matter that much? And I would say yes, because I look at those decoys that they were, and what was that, Jeff? Was that the 30s, that video?
Not quite that old. So that would have been more like old Super 8 film footage, right?
Okay.
So it's more in the 70s.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah, 70s.
Okay.
So if I can like plug some info in here,
go for it.
the Susquehanna Flats off Haverty Grace. The Susquehanna River forms at Chesapeake Bay, so it's a huge area, but like it's very relatively, it's very shallow, right? You can stand in water, and because you brought up punt guns, because you can't use punt guns, you can't use sink boxes anymore. The style of gunning those guys were doing is called body booting, where they actually stood. They had Navy survival suits on, cold water suits, that they stood in the water behind silhouettes in big decoys. So the decoys that you saw, the purpose of the decoy is really more to try to hide. They're huge styrofoam decoys that they put glue on them, wrote them in sawdust, put a head on them, but they were just big decoys that guys that are standing in the water can kind of hide behind the decoys. So that's more of the purpose of those decoys that are kind of crude looking. Okay. They're very big. They were inexpensive to make. They're very big, and people, as you're standing in the water, that goose like helps. Basically, it would be more of like you're blind, right? You're actually using the decoys because you're standing in the water. You're using these big decoys to hide behind.
Yeah, and when you listen to the episode, because I try to say Susquehanna Flats, and you're gonna laugh. Like, you really are going to laugh, because I'm really struggling to try to get that word out on the episode. So if I'd like to be a fly on the wall when you're in the decoy room when you're listening to that one, because I could see a big belly laugh coming from you. Me trying to get that word out. That's for sure.
It's all good. It's all good.
So now tomorrow starts. So tomorrow will be day 21 of 60. You're booked solid except for Christmas Day. There's been no changes. So I know last year you had the special sea duck season, right? But that
2 seasons ago. Last year was the first year we did not have it.
Right. Okay. So but now this year your Canada goose limit is increased by 1 bird a day, right?
And 15 days. So it's been the past couple of years, it's been 30 days, 1 bird for the AP goose, the Atlantic population goose that nests on the Ungava Peninsula in Quebec.
Right. Yeah, we've talked about that on that show. And I still can't get my head wrapped around why the ministry in Maryland, like that's the deciding factor, like the Ungava Peninsula in Quebec, why that's the deciding factor on the goose numbers. Because if it's like anywhere else, like the goose numbers are healthy, to say the least.
Except for on the Ungava Peninsula, which traditionally is the bird that migrates to the Chesapeake Bay region. So you get, a little bit of southwest New Jersey, the Delaware Bay, Delaware, Chesapeake Bay, Maryland, Eastern Shore, a little bit of the western shore of Maryland, and on down into Virginia on the Chesapeake Bay. Back in, I'm going to date myself here, back in 1988 or 89, the season was closed. And they said that the Ungava Peninsula goose population was down to 19,000 breeding pairs.
Oh, wow.
But back in the day, like the footage of the body booting that you saw, the season for our Canada goose in those days was 75 days, 4 birds a day. There was a lot of Canada geese that were killed here.
Yep.
I know there's farms and guide services that would have guys come in, they'd shoot their limit, they'd rotate those guys out, and they would bring a second group in the same day to that same blind, and they would shoot a second limit of birds. There was a lot of Canada goose. A lot of Canada geese were killed here. We talk about the Eastern Waterfowl Festival. It actually kind of, back in the day, it revolved around the opening of the Canada goose season. So, Easton is right in the heart of the Eastern Shore of Maryland. And again, the limit was 4 birds a day. So a lot of Canada geese were killed here.
Wow. And in that area, like you've got a lot of hunters, like not even local hunters, but people from all over the United States that would flock to the Chesapeake, right? So just a lot of hunting going on and a lot of birds being dropped. Crazy.
Yeah, and that Ungava Peninsula goose that was up to, they would say 250 to 225,000 breeding pairs, 250,000 breeding pairs, all of a sudden was down to 19,000 breeding pairs. So they closed the season for 5 years.
Wow. Crazy. All right. So we're getting close here, buddy. So let's talk about mollies. What's going on with mollies? What's happening? What's big? I know with federal ammunition, you've done a thing for diver ducks. Mollies are or I shouldn't say diver ducks, for sea ducks. Mollies is a huge backer of that. I know they've got a ton of stuff on the go all the time because I see the young fellow with the beard. I forget his name.
David from
David. Yeah. I see him all the time. What's happening with mollies? What's going on?
Well, currently is the 24 days of Christmas. Go, sell. Mollies. I'm told this is the last year for the federal sea duck load, which is just all around good waterfowl load. 3-inch shell, 12 gauge. It's BBs and 2s, duplex load, or 4s and 6s. I'm told the rumor is the 4s and 6s are going to go away next year, but they're going to bring it out in a 20 gauge round, 20 gauge load. Back when we started this, it was the whole premise was it was a very affordable load.
Yeah,
they were $9.99 a box. A case was $99, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how this all started. Now with everything that's happened, the prices have went up and it's not quite the same. But yes, so right now I'm going to tell you through Christmas, the BBs and 2s or 4s and 6s for a case is $159, I believe.
Okay.
And the second thing that has come out, Amala's exclusive, is the Chesapeake Heavy Hammer. It is in 12 gauge or in 20. Yep. It's a 3-inch shell. It's 3s and 5s. 5s and 3s, 3s and 5s, however you want to say it. It's 3-inch steel and 5 bismuth.
Ooh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
I would like to give that a try, actually. 3s and 5s, eh? That's interesting. And 5s are bismuth.
Yes. So you got the big shot. Geol's been shooting. He just got a 20 gauge the other day.
Yeah.
And I maybe I did not leave a couple boxes of heavy hammer Chesapeake with him on PEI. But he says, man, he's been loving shooting it. So it's a really good load. And again, like it's at affordable. The words are relative, but it's at an affordable price. A 200 round case, I'm going to say, is $229 of that.
Yeah, which is a fair price considering that you're shooting bismuth in there, right?
Yes.
And which is something that people need to take into account when they're shopping their prices. Jeff, buddy, I know you're busy and I know you got a lot of stuff to get ready for tomorrow, and we're almost at that 60-minute mark, buddy. So I think we'll tidy her up here. And then I'm going to promise you I'm going to leave you alone until after day 60, and then I'm going to reach back out to you to come on and have a chat and get a wrap up of what your season is or what your season was. Because everybody wants to know what Jeff Coates is up to. Everybody.
I don't know about that. But I want to rewind. I want to circle this into January 30th. So day 58 and 50. No, I'm sorry, 59 and 60 of 60.
Yeah.
Gio and Paulie are going to be here.
Are they really?
They are.
That's oh, buddy. I would love to be a fly on the wall for that.
I'm looking forward to the last two. Well, I look forward to all days, but I'm definitely looking forward to the last 2 days because they're here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm taking back that whole thing about leaving you alone. Let's start booking this. We're going to do a group podcast on day 60 with the boys in here. Because
how about day 61 of 60?
There we go. All right. Let's do that. Give the boys a chance to sleep in and be refreshed.
February 1st, with Through Fed West, we get the greater snows. The conservation season kicks in, so we're gonna try to shoot on the February 1st or 2nd. gonna try to shoot some snogies somewhere. But yeah, let's somewhere amongst in all that, let's do a podcast. 100%.
Awesome. It would be good, and it would be good for anybody that has listened to you and I. And we've had GF on the show before, but it'd be good for people to get a chance to take in all of what Paulie is, because yeah, he's a different fucking savage altogether. So
hey, I don't want to hear from Paul. You're chirping him. So if you're chirping him, I'm not chirping him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's all me, Paulie. And Paulie doesn't stick around to the end of the show, anyways. He's long gone by this point.
He has friends that report back to him. He has a whole crew, a whole force. He's like the Godfather, and he has this whole underworld.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's got his capos and everything underneath him.
He's got all kinds of workers underneath him.
That's awesome. No, I believe it. Buddy. When I make a post for this one, I'm tagging him in it too, just so I know that he's going to listen right to the end, because he's going to be like, what are those two talking about on here? So it'll be good. Jeff, buddy, thanks so much for coming on again. And I do believe that you are ahead of Brian Ellithorpe, but I do think the gauntlet has been thrown down, and there is now a very, very true competition of Ellithorpe versus Coates versus Ellithorpe, however you want to look at it. Maybe we can get a pay-per-view on this. I don't know, but it's
let's do it.
Yeah. Jeff, buddy, thanks so much for coming on, buddy. I really do appreciate it. Last words to you.
Give me a note. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, episode 170 of the Union 0430. We had the voice of the union, and you know it. He's been doing the introduction for so long. I can't even remember. I think maybe like episode 30. I think you came on, something like that. So thanks, Jeff. You're, as always, buddy, you've always been in our corner. You've always been a huge supporter of the brand and a great friend. Give Karen a kiss for me. If I'm not talking to you, which I know I will be, but I do have to say Merry Christmas to you, Karen, and your mom.
And you all, Damon. Thank you.
Have a great holidays, buddy. Please stay in touch. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Union 0430. Not experts. We'll never pretend to be, just a bunch of friends that love hanging out and talking about hunting birds. Big love. Until next time.
Salute.